Your solos will never truly connect with the song until you start focusing on this one thing. Most players think you have to play the chord changes, running scales and arpeggios to sound like a jazz musician. But if you start with the chords, you're missing the part that actually makes the song work. It's the one part of the tune that no one talks about, but it can completely change your solos. In this video, I'll show you how to play solos with better structure, phrasing, and musical direction without memorizing more scales. Dr. George here, making jazz simple so you can play more and think less. One of the biggest breakthroughs in my own playing came when I stopped thinking about the chords and started thinking about the melody. I think about the harmony when I practice, but when I play, it's the melody that I have in mind. It keeps me focused on the song, and my playing's more musical. This shift made a huge difference. My solos became more fluid, more connected. I wasn't just plugging in licks, I was actually playing the song. Let's see how and why that works. Of course, the melody is the song. It's what listeners remember and what gives each tune its identity. Unlike melodies, chord progressions aren't that unique, and a lot of standards use very similar chord progressions. Of course, there's blues and rhythm changes, but how many songs start with 1-6-2-5 progressions and their variations? Or this one, the backdoor cadence. If you only focus on the chords, you end up playing the same licks over and over again, and the tunes all start running together. But when you focus on the melody, you instantly connect with the song. You'll understand how to phrase and solo differently over them. And when you use the melody as the foundation, you sound musical, even with minimal theory. To start, ditch the fake book. Learn it like singers do. If you're like me, you learn lots of pop and rock tunes off records. You can learn the standards the same way. But I've become a lot more efficient. Here's how I do it. So the first step is to learn the melody. Now, if you're like most guitar players, when you learn a tune, you focus more on the chords. After all, you'll be playing those more often, and you need them to solo, right? But if you do that, you're missing the essence of the song. And now I always learn the melody first, and I mean really learn it. First, listen to the song and get it in your ear. Find a few versions of it, at least one should be a singer, and listen to it until you can sing it from memory. Now, once you can sing it, find it on the guitar. You won't have to be pressing play and rewind all the time. Pick a key and a position and figure it out. Sing each phrase, play it. So here's one I've been working on. I'm in the mood for love. Do-ba-do-do-da-do. Do-ba-do-do-do-do-do. Now this builds the hand-to-ear connection that's essential, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. Now you'll want to interpret the melody. In jazz, we rarely play the melody exactly as written, especially with standards. It's expected that you'll embellish it. Now since you've learned the song by ear, you're already on your way towards your own interpretation. But you want to continue the process. Keep singing and playing it until it feels right. Experiment with different styles and tempos. Here are some of the ways you can embellish it. The most important part is rhythm. Most standards are written with most of the notes on the beat, but for jazz, we need them to be on the upbeats. For many of the students, this doesn't come naturally. So look for ways to shift notes to the upbeats, either by anticipating or delaying the notes. This makes your phrasing more syncopated and jazz-like. Da-da-da, da-ba-do, da-da-da. Da 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 ba da dee da da ba do da. Next, focus on articulations, how you play each note. Just as we want to move notes to the upbeats, we also want to accent those upbeats. You can do that by back accenting with a pick. And you can also use slurs. With hammer-ons, pull-offs, and slides, you'll attack the note on the upbeat and then slur to the downbeat. This makes your lines swing. And then finally, you can add or change or even leave out some notes, but you want to be careful with this. As Art Blakey once told Wayne Shorter, Mr. Gershwin don't need your help. Respect the melody, but also be willing to follow where your ear leads. Now let's look at how you can use the melody to guide your solos. Not by quoting it note for note, but by letting it shape your phrasing, your pacing, and your ideas. An unfortunate fact of life is that guitar players don't have to breathe. At least not to play. And this often leads to unnatural phrasing. So when soloing, let the melody influence when you start and stop your phrases. When the melody leaves space, you leave space. If there's a bigger gap, you can add a fill or in a call and response pattern. And this keeps you connected to the tune and gives your solo a natural conversational shape. You'll hear the improvement almost immediately. The melody can also be a source for ideas for your solo. The melody usually has some simple, memorable ideas. We call those motives. Pick a motive and then try to develop it across your solo. A great example is Jim Hall's solo on Angel Eyes from his 1975 live album. He starts with a simple motive, just a few notes. And then he develops it across the whole solo, and at the end, he brings it back like a closing thought. Now, he wasn't just improvising freely, he was following an idea, and that's how you create a solo that feels like a story. So here's a good exercise. Pick a motive from the melody and develop it. Repeat it exactly, change the pitch, but keep the same rhythm. Or flip it, change the rhythm and keep the pitch. Now, you can also try sequencing or reversing or even adding notes. The possibilities are endless. In this example, I'll take a simple motive from the bridge of Don't Get Around Much Anymore, and then work it through the A section. A simple rule of thumb, repeat the idea once or twice, but then add a twist the third time to keep it fresh. Another idea is to find a place to quote a short phrase from the melody. It reinforces your connection to the tune and it gives the listener something familiar to hold on to. And then finally, let the contour of the melody guide the shape of your solo. When the melody rises to a high point, your solo can follow that arc. Build the intensity as the melody does. And if you're playing multiple choruses, take it up a notch in the second chorus. You want to take the listener on a journey. When you solo using the melody as your guide, you have to stop thinking about chord changes, scales, and arpeggios. You'll be using the right part of your brain to produce expressive solos with soul rather than academic exercise. Jazz is just music. The goal isn't to play scales, it's to play music. And you want to play what you hear, not what someone tells you to play. That's what makes it fun. And one more thing. Knowing the melody improves your comping too. You'll know when to fill, when to lay back and play time. That interaction with the lead really makes a difference. So as you can see, you don't need a lot of theory to improvise. And for more ideas on how to solo with feeling instead of thinking, check out this video.